All right, gymnasts, your 4-minute touch begins now.
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. She's 28, telling me I'm still a baby. I get love in Detroit like Skilla, baby. And the thing about your boy is,
And fans, if this is your first or one of many gymnastics events, you might want to know a little bit about how teams are scored. 6 gymnasts will compete on each event, and the top 5 scores will count to the team total. You may also see a gymnast perform an exhibition routine at the end of each event. The exhibition gives gymnasts the experience in front of a crowd and the judges as well, but it does not count toward the team score. Also, fans, you can follow all the action with Vertius on your phone.
Hello and welcome inside Haas Pavilion for a top 4 matchup between your Cal Bears, number 3 in the nation, up against the Utah Utes, sitting at number 4. Today's meet will be a big one, a lot on the line. Pac-12 regular season will not be decided here today, but this meet will likely have huge implications into the eventual champion. Each team as well will be looking to add to their national qualifying score. Cal right now hoping to better a 197.40 that they are counting, and Utah hoping to throw out a 197.3. In the first rotation, can update you with the lineups. Cal is going to lead off with Maddie Williams, her stalwart Yurchenko full in the leadoff, followed by a 1.5 from Kyan Mayhew, a possible big Yurchenko full from Ella Cesario, followed by the Yurchenko double full of MJ Frazier. Rounding out the lineup will be Yurchenko 1.5s from Lazon and Silvers. Over on uneven bars, they are looking to build off momentum in the leadoff position. 9.975 last week in the leadoff for McKenna Smith. She'll be in the 1 slot today, followed by Abby Paulson, Ella Zerbis, Miley O'Keefe, Olympian Grace McCallum, Alani Sabato will close out their rotation on uneven bars. Cal currently sits at number 4 in the nation on vault. Their top score this year, a huge 49.525. Last week in their 198.4 win over UCLA came in at 49.35. Vault's always going to be a big factor with those risky Yurchenko 1.5s, but again, we'll talk about it all day long. Meticulous curation of this Cal team, and the vault lineup is no exception. Over on uneven bars, the Utah Utes currently sit at number 7 overall. They've also maxed out at a 49.525. Last week had a huge 49.450 as they cracked into the 198 range for the first time this season. They did that with a 198.075. It is Cal's belonging meet today, celebrating diversity across the board, different abilities, orientations, supported on the campus of Cal Berkeley. We'll talk about it all day long, but huge for inclusion in the sport of gymnastics and the greater athletic community. We are getting a look at the first athlete up as Justin Howell prepares Maddie Williams. We mentioned here, it's going to be your Yurchenko full. Join her down the runway. Great form off the table. Bit of a rebound, just needs to absorb through the ankles and knees a tiny bit more. But in terms of a leadoff, I would put that right in that sweet spot where they like to start with a 9.825, 9.85-ish. When all is said and done between the two, really can appreciate the patience that she takes off the table. You saw the vault rise up, and the form just continued to serve in the leadoff for Cal. As mentioned here, McKenna Smith will lead things off. She's capable of a lot on this event. As always, handstands will be the name of the game. First one's up. Nice, locks it out. Floaty pack, you can see ankle and foot separation there. Gonna do the toe on to the low bar to set up the Van Leuven. Up to high to Maloney. Release with a half. Toe on, toe off. Those toes were on and off the majority of the routine. Steps back today on the dismount for McKenna Smith. A solid start, but definitely capable of leaving more in the score department. We'll update you as the scores come in today. Still waiting on the numbers for Maddie Williams. Getting a look here at the freshman, Kyan Mayhew. Had a huge debut, and Maddie Williams, 9.875. Williams going to be Mayhew, 1.5. Excellent landing, tiny hop forward, and the name of the game as well at this point in the season, hop, don't step, minimize those deductions. The one thing you'll notice here, watch her head comes forward right at the end, and that drives her shoulders a bit over her hips, resulting in a controlled yet sustained hop to finish it out. Numbers for McKenna Smith coming in now as she sets up Abby Paulson, former national team member. It's a 9.825 for McKenna Smith, so comparatively 9.975, 9.9 plus capabilities, leaving a little something to be desired. But again, just getting a solid number in the books. The name of the game in that first slot. Here we go with Paulson. She'll mount to low. First handstand solid. Pack salto, you can see really trying to squeeze those feet and ankles together, but coming apart even up through the kip there. Great extension through her toes, giant full double tuck. And again, one thing, we all have heard it all season long so far, you have to show control in that dismount as you're saluting. The first two athletes up clearly off balance and opening the door for the judges to definitely take the deductions they should be for control. Getting some running scores here as we look at a 9.9 up for Mayhew. Capable of a 1.5 here, but we have seen great floaty Yurchenko fulls all season long. And this is no different. Really complimentary. The variety in the vault lineup for Cal is undeniable. Full to 1.5, we're going to see the doubles, and then more 1.5s come in. Great to be able to rely on. We'll see what comes in for Cesario. Number for Abby Paulson, 9.75, and can't help but think that that dismount was really what did it. Couple tenths alone right there. Ella Zerbis now. It's a Ray immediate pack salto, named after great Elise Ray. Tiny bit off kilter in the half pirouette on the low bar, but really appreciative of the foot, toe, and ankle form here. Half in, half out. Zeros in on the landing. I like her technique as she's patient on the landing, really sees her feet hit the ground. If anything, her chest does, with that technique, her chest does seem to be a bit lower, and I don't think it's necessary. Really aesthetically pleasing routine, though. Great to get them back on track after an uncharacteristic 9.75. Cesario, I'm a bit surprised here as well. 9.8 flat in comparison to Maddie Williams in the leadoff. A little skimpy in the third slot from the judges, but talking about that variety, MJ Frazier, Yurchenko double full. And as I mentioned during our broadcast against Arizona, it's pretty much what MJ is able to deliver time and time again on vault. It's that really quick twist off the table right there, almost twisting her hands and wrists a little bit as she's making contact there. Clean through the double full, and then one pace back, I would say, opening the door for that 9.85 range again. We'll see what the judges net out with as Ella Zerbis in the third slot for Utah puts up a 9.9. So getting them into that level of performance is exactly what you want when you have standout Miley O'Keefe up next. Locks it out. You can see she held that first handstand on the low bar. Significant leg separation as we're seeing from this angle on the Pac Salto. Get right up on top of the bar. Actually, I would say that handstand was a bit rushed. Fontaine dismount, zeroes in, single pace forward. You can see the glimpses of when Miley O'Keefe is firing on all cylinders. That is undeniably flirting with the 10. Today, evident errors will keep that number below. I would say that should hover around 9.8 to 9.85. MJ Frazier in the books with a 9.85 as anticipated. Maya Lazan in action here. Top performer in the all-around vault as well. Ooh. And that was an aggressive move on vault for Lazan. Floats it down to her feet and unfortunately mistimed just slightly. We're going to see her, watch this, 1.5 opens. And those shoulders are just a little far back, but you can tell, I would say probably 80 to 90% of the time, it's right where she anticipates. Scoot back on the landing, indicates under rotation, which, judges, again, undeniably will notice and deduct for. Miley O'Keefe in the fourth slot for Utah, 9.85. Here's 2021 Olympian Grace McCallum. Maloney to high, followed by the Pac immediate Stalder. Another leg separation on the Pac, but foot and ankle form great on the Van Leeuwen up to high bar. Full twisting double tuck dismount. Rebounds just slightly through her legs, but zeroes in to maximize the landing there. I can tell you Maya Lazan, 9.9 in the fifth slot, and this is Jaden Silvers settling into getting this 1.5 in competition. Watch the form on the table. Tidy landing. Now, the reason I point out the form on the table, there is a significant split in her legs as her hands first make contact and she's waiting to get that power off the vault. Let's take a look here. Right, and then she snaps them back together for a really aesthetic view in the post-flight of that Yurchenko 1.5, and I like how she's getting more aggressive with going for that landing. And what did I say off the top? Hop, don't step, specifically on those Yurchenko 1.5s. Great to see there. Solid lineup for Cal. They were already sitting at 49.325. That should add. Grace McCallum, 9.95. I would say the only flicker there then was the separation on the Pac Salto that we saw from the angle we're sitting at. Sabado looking to improve their current total, 49.275. First handstand, line change, straddled Jaeger. A little bit out of control, and you could see that manifest as she regrasped the low bar on that bail. Leg form came apart as in that second salto of the double layout, but huge point of emphasis was the landing on that dismount. should negate the 9.75 from Abby Paulson in the second slot to bump up a couple more notches. Can tell you that Cal will finish the first rotation off with a 49.4. Only the third time this season they've been at or above 49.4. This is Casey Brown in an exhibition. And adding to the variety in the exhibition slot, one of those quintessential Cal Yurchenko fulls. Watch right here. Actually has her arms significantly wide on the table. Looked maybe a little bit rushed, but really settled down as she pushed off and small hop back. It'll be great to assess as we approach the postseason, between those Yurchenko fulls, who is getting those solid nods from the judges. I can tell you that Alani Sabato closed Utah out with a 9.875 for a 49.4, which matches Cal's total. So, as expected, number 3 in the nation, number 4 in the nation. We are in a dead heat after the competitive routines in the lineup. Getting one final look here at Ashley Gwynn in the exhibition slot for Utah. Maloney to high, significant leg separation and well short of handstand there. Again, competitive experience, great handstand, like the aggression there. Slight elbow bend through the Stalder as she nails a double tuck. And Utah, that's great momentum to close out that rotation. They really found their feet on a few of those landings. They'll really hope to carry that over as they've been putting some, I would say, growth opportunity vaults out there. They'll look to zero in and just nail a few 1.5s in the next rotation. Can tell you that Casey Brown in the exhibition matched Ella Cesario's number of a 9.8 for her Yurchenko full. We will take a 2-minute break and come back just before the start of rotation number 2 inside Haas Pavilion. You can follow along on Twitter. Find me at YoEv. Evan Heider reporting on the scene. NCAA Gym is alive, well, and it is hype in Haas. We'll be back soon. Back inside Haas Pavilion. It will be the second rotation. Your Cal Bears stepping up to the number 3 event they hold in the nation. It's uneven bars. Last week, a season high 49.650. They'll be looking to replicate that today. Lazon, Cesario, Lee, Frazier, Perea, and Williams with Brown in the exhibition. Over on vault, this is, as I mentioned in the last rotation, a crucial one for Utah. Maxing out on vault at a 49.525. Big number this year. Last week, 49.4. However, ranked 9th in the nation. I mentioned they take some risks with some underclassmen doing those Yurchenko 1.5s, but they're bolstered by a former national champion, Jaden Rucker. Looking at her warm-up vault now, out of frame. Tiny step back, but really zeroing in on that landing. Getting a look at the highlights from the first rotation. Cal, their 3rd highest vault total of the year, 49.40. Utah with a 49.40 on uneven bars as well. They have been in that range consistently a few times. So each team in this first rotation performing to expectation. Look at the numbers there for that 49.4 total. Utah on vault will lead off with Cami Winger, over to Ella Zerbis, Ashley Glynn, McKenna Smith, Jaden Rucker, and Grace McCallum. As I mentioned, those first three in the lineup are underclassmen. McKenna Smith as well, a sophomore in the 4 slot, but bolstered by that former national champion Rucker. Here's Cami Winger. This will be a Yurchenko 1.5. We've seen a variety of landings from her throughout the season. Important to set the tone. Pace with a large number here. Flirts with the landing line, but keeps it in bounds. Single pace forward for Cami Winger. Solid start, and again, putting that 10-0 start value up early in their lineup, really getting after it. Utah, we should expect to see 6 10-0 vaults as we move over to Maya Lazan on uneven bars. Short on that first cast handstand. She'll have to do some work to make up for that. Flicker of legs as she transitions up to high bar, but the pack is beautiful. Pushes the limit on that half pirouette. Tempo lost just for a moment. Back on top. Loose back ever so slightly. And deep in the knees. It will be interesting to see what judges do with home scoring there for Lazan. Obviously, no major deductions, but glimpses and flickers of deduction do add up. That arm waver means she needs to maintain control after being a bit off kilter. 9.85 in the leadoff for Cami Winger. Ella Zerbis, 1.5. I like the aggression, and I think she could have nailed that. Just doubted herself and brought her shoulders up a little quickly, but great potential there from Zerbis. Conversely, that 9.85 leadoff on vault, so if you'll remember, the Yurchenko full of Maddie Williams also got a 9.85. So the name of the game on vault really is risk-reward, but sometimes in these postseason competitions, that 10-0 start value will really come in handy. But so far this season, Maddie Williams has really been lights out in getting that Yurchenko full, minimizing the deductions on it. I see 1.985 up for Zerbis. She took that single pace back, so under rotation, evident to the judges, and they actually match 9.85, so that will be her total number in the second slot. Ella Cesario up next. Watched her in the warm-up. She and Andy Lee do a great job of driving their heels, staying patient, and hitting the apex of the straddled Jaeger. We'll see it off the top here. Quick first handstand into the blind change. Floaty. And you saw again from this angle, tiny bit off kilter. Ankles come apart just ever so slightly as she transitions down to low. I would say that was another quick handstand right at the top, but excellent stretch position. Unnecessary, Ella. That tiny step forward. Patience is the name of the game, and as Ella Cesario gets used to more of these all-around repetitions, we'll look to just sink. Use those knees to absorb. Small step, but again, don't want to be leaving those on the table. Here we go with Ashley Glynn. Should be another Yurchenko 1.5. Great pop. Step forward and to the side. In my hop, don't step manifesto, I do think that could have been a tiny scoot had she been focusing there, but finds the landing, securely underway, following 2 9.85s. Cesario builds on Lazan's leadoff 9.825. She comes in at 9.875 in the 2 slot for Cal. I mentioned Andy Lee as the other comparable huge straddled Jaeger. She will be next in the 3rd slot as we wait for the numbers of Ashley Glynn. 2.99s are what I'm seeing, so she'll net out there. I do think that was the best example of pop off the horse coupled with distance that we've seen from Utah today. Underclassmen putting up solid numbers, 2 9.85s and a 9.9. Andy Lee in the 3rd slot, getting some advice from Cal assistant and bars technician John Carney. Name of the game here for Lee is handstands. She can take them to the extreme, just like that. Blind change, watch the heel drive. Excellent aesthetic display right there. Keeps the toes ever so slightly together. Another one. There we go. Giant full. Pushes just past the handstand. That does open up the door, but that is an exclamation point on a beautiful exercise for Andy Lee. You can see right there, her feet were already past vertical, swinging through the bottom, but she handled it well and maintained the best position possible to release the bar and make sure she saw that double tuck landing. Excellent job. That should build from the 9875. Here's McKenna Smith. Have fun. Pike front off. Difficult landing. Huge work and credit to Smith for maintaining her footing there. We'll get another look at what exactly happened. Looked to be likely a bit high onto the table, and when that happens, you're not pushing to your full potential. I can tell you the number for Andy Lee is up at a 9925, so does indeed build up. John Carney, again, speaking with MJ Frazier, having a career year so far as just a sophomore, was outstanding last week in Westwood. Waiting for the number of Smith as well. Multiple steps will be, as for now, the one Utah wants to drop. Frazier, good control, slightly short on that handstand to low bar, but really like the aggression in the Pack Salto and the half pirouette. Form so far has been outstanding. Quick handstand as she sets up for a double A. Boom! Goes MJ Frazier into a stuck landing on that dismount. Extension to the maximum here. Slight leg separation as she comes around for the landing, but it's quick in real time. We'll see where the judges land again behind the momentum of a 9925. McKenna Smith, unfortunately, 9525. Rucker needs to get them back on track. Big 1.5. And there you go. What you've come to expect from a former national champion on vault. And if we thought Lynn got pop off the table, that is exemplary from Rucker. I would say she probably approached that with a bit of safety in mind. She really knew how to rotate. Her shoulders were significantly in front of her hips, so she was not going to stick that vault, but a single pace forward, solid one in the books after a lackluster 9.525, getting Utah back on track. MJ Frazier, a 9.975. So one judge went 10 for that. As we mentioned, there were opportunities for deduction there. So I do think where we settle on a 9.975 is accurate. However, I would net out at a 9.95 personally. Former club teammate of Andy Lee, Gabby Perea from Legacy Elite, comes up on bars next as Jaden Rucker rights the ship for Utah on vault 9.90. Brilliant first handstand for Perea. Toe on, toe off. Pack salto. Again, great angle to see. No foot, leg separation. Tiniest flicker midair there, but beautiful. Quick through that handstand. Did get it up on top, though. Double leg. And that, as we pointed out through the Utah rotation, some quick landings and salutes, not showing that control that's necessary this year. Watch this. Textbook. Taps through the bottom. Closes her hips ever so slightly, but zeroes in. Great, great work from Gabby Perea in the 5th slot. Jaylene Gilstrap will close out the vault rotation for Utah. This should be a Yurchenko full. floaty and uses her back flexibility. Great job. Another solid one in the books. Grace McCallum was initially in that lineup, but looks like with the numbers that they had, they felt more confident with that Yurchenko full. Can tell you that Gabby Perea had another 9.95-10 split. So they notched their second 9.975 in this rotation. Currently sitting at a 49.575 with Maddie Williams, a 10 potential routine left in the tank. And this can be stunning. Look at the aggression as she locks out that handstand on low bar. Maloney Pack saw that slight foot separation, She takes it down. Minute. Another aggressive handstand up on top. If she sticks this, you see where the momentum is going. Huge way to end the rotation for Cal. Watch this. The extension, look at the rise that she's getting, even in comparison to her teammates who have exemplary double layouts. Fantastic work, and you can't help but think, what are the judges going to throw there? Can tell you that Utah closed out with a 9.8 to bring them to a very respectable 49.3. In range on the higher end of their season averages on the event. Maddie Williams, another 10.995 split. So 3 consecutive 9.975s for a season high 49.725 for Cal on uneven bars. They are working to their potential, hitting their stride, meet over meet, gaining that confidence. Again, this point in the season, you're getting tired. You're getting antsy for some postseason action. But these Cal Bears are settling in, doing what they know how to do, as we heard so many interviews. Just want to do what I do in the gym every day, and they are going out there and delivering. We'll get an exhibition glimpse at Casey Brown. Again, curated lineups and teams. It's been really impactful to see the depth year over year. Unfortunate weak first handstand, significant deduction there, but floaty pack salto. Can tell you that Cal's 49.725, second best all-time bars number. Tiny bit of elbow bend as she sets up for a great dismount, and unfortunate lack of control for Casey Brown. But testing the depth of another lineup there. Cal has a viable routine in the bank. Just puts those shoulders tiny bit behind. So as of right now, running totals, Cal at a 99.125, Utah 98.70. So 4/10 and change, not a bad cushion at the halfway point for Cal. As always, heading to beam and floor, never know quite what to expect. So both of these teams not letting up on the gas, and we will come back with a third rotation from Haas Pavilion.
My guilty pleasure song is One Two Step by Sierra.
Ooh, guilty pleasure song is Beautiful Believer by Brett Young.
All Too Well 10-minute version by Taylor Swift. Probably All Too Well 10-minute version. Ella and I would sing it in the kitchen to Gabby. Gabby, not too much a fan, but we're turning her into an All Too Well fan.
My guilty pleasure song is Worldwide by Big Time Rush.
My guilty pleasure song is California Girls by Katy Perry.
All right, and this ends the touch period. Here are your scores after 2 rotations. Utah with a score of 98.700, and your California Golden Bears 99.125. And judges, please take control of your event.
We'll take over. This is to set the stage for Ella Zerbis, Jaden Rucker, Jaylene Gilstrap, Miley O'Keefe, and Grace Callum, 2021 Olympian, will close things out on that event, coming off a 10.0 last week. And speaking of that 10.0, a 49.70 season-high score. That is what sent Utah just 0.075 over the 198 mark, their first time over 198 this season. They'll be looking to replicate, if not better, that rotational total. Can tell you that Cal, across the board this season, has only dipped below 49.0 on an event twice. Both of those were just barely under 49, 48.85 in week 1 and a 48.975 just 3 weeks ago. But last week, really finding their groove, 49.725 in Westwood. That was their huge closer to a 198.40. Here is Andy Lee to set the stage. We've seen her in this position many times. This is a quick routine, and she pushes the limit of difficulty, especially on the dismount, but no slouch here. Aerial keeps the momentum going. Immediate back layout step out. Ever so slight waiver, but again, a seasoned athlete on balance beam. Andy Lee, just outstanding work. So confident in herself and patience. Head goes back. Tiny body waiver there, but we mentioned pushing the limit of difficulty. Excellent to see. Here we go. Signature Andy Lee. Gainer, tuck full. Adding to the exclamation of a great leadoff performance. That stuck gainer full off the end. Outstanding work. I could see that going 9-9 in the leadoff at home. Feet a bit far apart, but easily brings those heels back together for an appropriate landing position. We'll get a little T-Swift here with Abby Paulson in the leadoff on floor for Utah. Can only hope that what it made her do was notch into the 9-9 as a leadoff performer, front through 2.5. And watching this in person, and I know it's showing up on the stream as well, the twisting form, immaculate from Paulson. Controls it, really took it up. You want to see those second saltos and the combination passes rise up. You can really appreciate how Paulson is pushing the limit. She is performing everything to the maximum. We talked about position aesthetically on that first pass, and no stranger to it on the third pass either. 1.5 front layout to close. That may just match Andy Lee's leadoff 9.875 over on balance beam. Solid leadoff performances in this third rotation. Utah has some ground to make up, so this is what they are needing, that energy that they are bringing with that first routine. Maddie Williams coming off a 9.975 in the previous rotation on uneven bars. Really got that double wolf turn going quick, but love her patience and confidence as we saw Andy Lee display. Knew exactly where she was, maintained control. Front aerial, solid, right to split jump. Big test for Maddie right here. Layout back step out. Layout step out. Almost a flicker of hesitation as one of her feet came down for the back handspring, but committed to it and not even a waver. Switch leap into split jump. Love this confident projection. Relaxing into the latter part of this routine. As she sets up, it's going to be a back handspring right into a gainer full. Watch for a stretch position throughout the layout. Controls it well. Maddie Williams, exemplary throughout that routine, but the back half, ooh, lights out. Zeroes in on the landing. That should build on the 9875. And talked about going head-to-head in those leadoffs. Abby Paulson, 9875, sets up Ella Zerbis. Front handspring, front double full, and we see a slew of those in NCAA competition, but this is one of the best controlled in the nation. Way to go, Ella Zerbis. Switch half Copa. Confident in those 180 positions. Nice rise on each. Mid-tempo, almost methodical music. 1.5 front full to close. Would have liked to see the full rise up just ever so slightly, a little bit more. Final lovely touch in the 2 slot for Utah. Can tell you momentum is building for Cal over on beam. Maddie Williams comes in with a 9-9. Ella Cesario will be next up. Truth spoken, did see her come off just a couple times in the warm-up on the layout back step out, but for every one that she missed, there was another one rock solid to follow it up. We talked about Ella Cesario getting more reps in the all-around. Doing multiple events is definitely different than previous years for her. Maybe just 1 or 2, so a full all-around program for Cesario sets her up great for not only this year, but potential in the future. Can update you, Zerbis in the 2 slot for Utah, 9925.
I can see you standing on it with his arms around your body, laughing but the joke's not funny.
Full turn leaves one of the shoulders just ever so slightly back, but confident up on toe. Setting up here with a big deep breath into the series.
Holding all this love out here in the hall.
Gutsy save for Cesario. Really does not compromise on the height and the aggression there, but saw those shoulders drift over, hips came out of line, needs to settle down. Switch half, back on track.
I think I've seen this feeling before.
Quick routine here. She's looking at the end of the beam, and Coach Elizabeth Crandall Howell, again, like the aggression that she's applying in that 1.5 dismount, could have taken a step to the side, but fights for it here. Watch her zero in. Watch it, actually looks behind her shoulder to plant her feet and settles in eventually. Obvious deductions there for Cesario, but a solid routine, no major deductions in terms of incurring a fall. As we join Jaden Rucker. This is going to be a full in. And I should correct myself, technically half in, half out. Zero's in, the best landing I've seen from her all day on that skill. What a time to do it. Always in the meat. Great contrast as well as Zerbis. Mid-tempo before her, and this is anything but mid-tempo. Leveraging that big E pass before this one. Settling into dance, really projecting out to the crowd. 1.5 front layout. Saw the feet come apart over the top in that front layout, but very solid execution throughout that routine for Rucker. One of the interesting things is she actually round-offs and twists different directions. And that's one of those things as you're learning gymnastics as a young athlete, you just kind of settle into what you're comfortable with. And it almost makes some of her skills seem a little less aesthetic. However, she executed that very well to close. Those noticeable deductions are evident in the final score of 9.75 for Ella Cesario, so it will sit with MJ Frazier to right the ship, similarly that we've seen Utah faced with in other rotations. Cream of the crop in the NCAA. When MJ is on, this is lights out. 10 potential, no doubt. An aggressive, breathy, I mean, when a full turn looks like you're taking a breath, the confidence just exudes through the skill. Front aerial, keeps the arms moving, layout, back step out, aggressive finish position. We saw the same combination from Andy Lee. You see in the background there, Jaden Rucker notching a 9.9 on floor. Utah, again, has ground to make up. Watch this. Ring leap. Excuse me, ring jump. Hits the position beautifully, and the core is so tight. She's really settled into these skills. It's almost autopilot for MJ. Look behind you. Talk about autopilot. That will be flirting with perfection for sure. The ship is righted in Haas for MJ. Great display. Cartwheel, 1.5. Trusts it fully. Thrilled with it. We'll keep you posted on what that number is as it comes up. Getting a look here at Jaylene Gilstrap. And I talk about MJ Frazier as cream of the crop in the NCAA. I would put Jaylene Gilstrap's choreography and performance in that same echelon for floor exercise. Front lay up to Rudy. We talk about the rise in the second skills on those combinations. Perfection. That's a zone to end. Ugh. I know Kathy Johnson is somewhere at home gasping. Tremendous passion going into this performance. Flashes the U as she looks to close this one out. MJ Frazier in with a 9.95. And again, the patience she uses on those two pass combination elements. Great work there for Jaylene Gilstrap. Again, following Jaden Rucker's 9-9, and they already had a 9-9-2-5 from Ella Zerbis. So Utah really going aggressive in this floor rotation. Next up, Maya Lazan. This mount sequence is a treat and a half. Right there, goes into the wolf, full turn. Not even a waver through the core or arms as we're so used to commonly seeing. Patient confidence flowing through this Cal rotation. Here we go for Maya. It'll be the triple series. Flick, flick, lay. Saw ever so slightly on that second back handspring a slight drift, and the manifestation came on that culminating skill. But remained patient, remained confident, saved it through her core. Just a slight arm movement. Switch to split. A bit abrupt between those two skills, but the connection is solid. Watchful eye of Elizabeth Crandall Howell. Looking for this dismount. Over her years at Cal, she has learned to take this up so well. And zero in on the landing of the double full. Undeniable dismount. I would actually say the leg form better than last week in Westwood. And aggressively plants it. Excellent work there. Jaylene Gilstrap gets them back over the 9.90 mark. She's in with a 9.925. Miley O'Keefe. Round off back handspring. Text, dot, book, double, pike. Front lay, front full. You talk about undeniable. Mila's on tiny hop forward on that switch ring half. This is what made Miley stand out even in her junior elite days. Just a knowledge of her body, where it is, and how to show it off to the extreme during these skills and the dance. Excellent. I can tell you Mila's on 9.925, so that flicker on the series did cost her just a bit, but great to see that potential. And it is lights out on that last pass. Project it in the Louvre, why don't you? That was exactly how patient you need to be through that 1.5 into the front layout. You saw it float, you saw it rise. She knew exactly where she was. Phenomenal routine for Miley O'Keefe. So no slouch in the fifth slot for Mila's on 9.925. Respectable and undeniable. However, some room for improvement, so looking to close it out here. They have a 49.4 already in the books. Gabby Perea will look to erase Ella Cesario's 9.75. That's currently counting. Both judges throw a 9.95 for Miley O'Keefe, so she will keep the momentum going for Grace McCallum. Unfortunate for Gabby Perea there. Off on the front toss, 1 foot completely off, but even tried to work out of it. Will repeat, and there you go. Unfortunate shift on the back tuck, but 49.4, definitely respectable, but well lower of their 49.725 last week. Switch, split, and you can see through her face, through her movement, settling in, calming herself down. This will be a huge dismount combination, side semi, tucks 1.5, drills it, scoots back on the dismount. Unfortunate for Perea, but solid numbers in the books across the Cal lineup. Now we talk about where the judges go and what is the mentality of Grace McCallum, coming off a 10.0 last week, following a 9.95 from Miley O'Keefe. The 2021 Olympian steps onto floor. She'll start off with a big full in, was close to out of bounds in warm-up. Perfection, and you see that front foot staying planted on the landing. Crucial. This is postseason composure for McCallum. First jump there, a bit hard to tell from this angle if the split was fully achieved, but the closer of that sequence, great display. Back to one of those mid-tempo presentation routines. Intentional movement for McCallum really suits her style. And just as I mentioned, the composure of Grace McCallum, a blip on the radar in her psyche appears. An orphan punch front, out of control in the anchor slot. So good news for Utah, 49.575 in the bank. Possible unfortunate news is that they were looking to make up ground in that rotation. Did a little bit, but could have really done something with a huge number from McCallum. So won't get that one today. They have one rotation left. Getting a look at Nikki Adorinto. Flick Lele. Gorgeous series from a former Junior Olympic national champion on the event. But just, we talk about the mental composure. Huge series, and then just lets the shoulders drift on the full turn. Something in the exhibition slot you want to work out before stepping into the lineup. And again, troubles continue. Can tell you that Gabby Perea closed out with a 9.275 as the gainer full off the side is hiked down for Adorinto. Lessons learned in the exhibition slot, no matter what. Will tell you that judges are still working on Grace McCallum's. When things go that different according to plan, sometimes judges need to work a little bit harder than expected to make the final numbers make sense. Again, a 49.575 though, really solid number in the bank. That matches their third highest total on the event for the year. Running totals here, 148.525 to 148.275. So Utah making up ground, doing what they need to do, but they're really going to have to go lights out and rely on some uncharacteristic behavior from Cal on floor. We will come back with a fourth and final rotation from inside Haas Pavilion after this. Coming back for the fourth and final rotation from Haas Pavilion, it is the belonging meet of the Cal Golden Bears, and they are looking to etch their names at the top of the Pac-12, remain undefeated, as are the Utah Utes in this fourth and final decisive rotation. Can tell you that the running totals here are 148.525 for Cal to 148.275, so a .25 lead that's been diminished from over 4/10 after the second rotation. So Utah doing some work there. Cal, a couple blips in their beam program. Getting a look at some of the highlights from that last rotation as I can update you on the planned lineups for Cal. They'll lead off with Maddie Williams, over to Jordan Kane, Ellis Azario, Kyan Mayhew, Maya Lazan, and MJ Frazier will close it out with a planned exhibition from Andy Lee. Over on beam, Utah will lead off with Cami Winger over to Elizabeth Gantner. Then Grace McCallum will look to rebound after an uncharacteristic empty last pass. They close out with a huge trio. That is Paulson, O'Keefe, and Gilstrap to close it out. We mentioned off the top of today's show, each team looking to erase one of their lower numbers from their NQS that they're counting right now. Cal right now counting a 197.4, so with their running total, only need to muster a 48.875 to boost their NQS. Based on what they've done all season long, that should be a very comfortable possession. We will now look to see if Cal can match their 49.675 from last week in Westwood. On the other side of the mat, we have Utah. They need a 49.025 to better their 197.3, currently counting road score in NQS. Should handily do that as well. They've never been below 49 on any event, let alone beam this season. They've maxed out at a 49.55, and last week a confident 49.525 on the event. Getting a look at the running totals here. We knew it would be an interesting one, and the gymnastics has delivered. As noted, our first look will be Cami Winger in the leadoff, as she did on vault. Cat leap, kick front, split jump. I'd like to see a little more aggression in that cat leap. Looks very casual and easily executed, but even those jumps and leaps can be taken to a new height. Switch leap into split jump. Solid connection there. Sets up for the series. Flick lay. Arms come right up, shoulders dead center of the beam. Full turn coming late in the routine, and a flicker of nerves coming in as she lets that shoulder drift ever so slightly. But that was one of the only opportunities for deduction there, as the gainer full in the layout position off the end lands well. Solid start for Utah. Here we go with Maddie Williams. Huge day so far. Didn't hear the music start the first time, but quickly settles in. The attention to detail in the choreography. Not that Liz Crandall Hall has a singular bread and butter, but this is beauty. All season long, the Rudy has continued to rise up as Maddie Williams settles into that pass. Even through the warm-up, the shoulders weren't fully rotated. I would say this was very safely around today. Avant-garde, jazzy movements. Slight stumble on that jump, but covers it and keeps the movement going. Opportunity for slight deduction, I would say, maybe 0.05. Back 1.5, right into front layout, and almost got her foot stuck in the carpet a little bit. Another flicker of tiny opportunity to deduct. Would not put that routine below 9.85, however. Watch this right here. Well controlled. Upon replay, I take back what I said. That did look pretty secure upon second look, so should be a solid leadoff number for Maddie Williams. We'll see what the judges do with that slight stumble on the difficult leap. Kemi Winger led off with a 9.85. Over to Elizabeth Gantner, her only event today. .98599 split for Williams from the judges. She'll lead off with a 9.875. Secure number in the bank here as Gantner sets up for her series. Back handspring, layout, step out, immediate straddle jump. Love that she's pushing the envelope there. There's one area to be critical, and she keeps her hips closed on the layout back step out and can really just use that height that she's gaining and momentum from the back handspring. Not an exemplary switch half here. Did not hit the necessary angle from my view. Running front full off the end, and you saw it. Shoulders drift forward ever so slightly. Toes rise up and needs to take that hop, but you know it. Better than a step. Solid one in the books for Gantner. Again, can appreciate how she's trying to be unique and different in a world full of flick lays. Here we go. Second routine up for Cal. It'll be Jordan Kane. Cannot talk enough about the difficulty of this first pass. It's a front full immediate Rudy. Landing was aggressive. You saw just the last half twist in that Rudy. Flicker of leg form coming apart, but secure in the ultimate landing of the skill. Great to see Kane get used to this lineup position. She's delivering 9.9 plus scores week over week. Switch side half into Wolf. Opportunity to breathe, but still need to keep that performance level up. Ensure you're projecting fully through your fingers. Last pass here. 1.5 front leg. Controls it well. Thought there could be a slight buckle as she went for that 1.5, but trusts the technique, stays patient, and uses the bounce of the floor. Yeah, you saw the leg separation there come across, but really tighten things back up for the final element in that combination. Can tell you that Elizabeth Gantner, prior to Grace McCallum, 9.825. Sub-9 uncharacteristic score for Grace McCallum in the third rotation on floor. Looking for a bit of redemption here. 2021 Olympian with the triple wolf. Into her series. Lick lay. As if there was any doubt, really uses the arm movement to right herself, stay completely center and square over the beam. She's using that critical magnifying glass eye, tiny waver of her hip. Same thing following at the end of that jump leap series. But these are minute, if anything. Flashing the U. She sets up to bring this one home. It'll be what Andy Lee did. And I actually like that a tiny bit more. Look at the distance, height, and gets those feet together super quick. Solid landing for McCallum. Minimal deductions there. Getting herself and her team on track. This is Cayenne Mayhew, freshman for Cal. Jordan Kane before her, 9.875. Bears yet to crack 9.9, but huge potential in the last 4 slots of this lineup. Big first pass, running, front double full, punch, height. We talked about the variety from Cal's vault lineup, but you see it manifest here in the choreography as well. Not trying to pigeonhole Mayhew into an aspect of performance that she's not comfortable with. Like to see a bit more head release on that switch ring. Last pass for Mayhew. 1.5 front full. Excellent control. There you have it. I would say with confidence that should get the Bears into the 9.9 range. Tiny bit of knees coming over the top of that 1.5, but again, this is slow-mo. Can update you with the score of Grace McCallum. Again, after an uncharacteristic and unfortunate floor performance, she's back in with a 9.9. Great to see her bounce back. And we talked about the last 3 competitors here for Utah. It really starts with Abby Paulson. Side aerial layout step out with a finessed feet jump prior. Excellent work again, differentiating herself from very similar movements by just adding a little bit of zhuzh in the front. Nice job through the leap combination. Full turn, showing that confidence. Cayenne Mayhew, 9.925, so as expected, over that 9.9 threshold. We'll look to see what the rest of the Cal lineup can do, and so far, Abby Paulson matching that energy in the 4th slot for Utah's beam lineup. Nails a gainer full off the side. That should build from a 9.9 for McCallum. Excellent work up on the apparatus and ultimately on that landing. Here we go, talking about all of those cream of the crop moments in the NCAA. This is one of them for me. This choreography just matched to the presentation and execution of Maya Lazan. Impeccable. front double full, punch front. Perhaps just slightly shy of rotation, but secure right through into that lunge. And the front double full was sky high. The patience, the technique, it's all there for Lauzon. Switch ring, switch half. That back leg just flirting with a 180. Tiny bit shy in my perspective. Mai Lauzon looking to bring this one home. Nails it just as she did in the touch warm-up. Not even a lunge needed for Lauzon. Fans inside Haas Pavilion are thrilled with it, as Utah will be thrilled with the momentum that's building. Look here, the 1.5 front full nails. Tiny scoop forward, but minimal errors throughout that routine for Lauzon. Getting back to the momentum, building on beam. Abby Paulson in with a 9.925. Here is Miley O'Keefe. Can tell you that Maya's in with a 9.925 of her own. Updated running totals right now, not to disrupt the beauty of Miley O'Keefe. Aerial layout step out, great combination. 188.125 to 187.775. So Cal not letting up here. Utah's gonna need to go lights out these last two routines, and Miley O'Keefe is one you want in the driver's seat here. So that same combination from Abby Paulson before her, I would say Miley actually took it up in height and dynamics, just ever so slightly. Great complement in the lineup. Confident performance, and you almost saw a little bit of rebound up through her body, but didn't see her feet from this angle come up off the mat. So again, what we've come to expect from Miley O'Keefe on balance beam. Outstanding exercise there. They'll have one left with Gilstrap. The fifth slot, here's MJ Frazier. Settles herself into this routine, and then it's going to be dynamics to the hilt. Walks into this double lay. Phenomenal control and execution. MJ Frazier as a sophomore is a case study in settling into what NCAA gymnastics means. Her consistency, really getting comfortable being wherever she needs to be in the lineup and performing. Outstanding work so far today for Frazier. She has one more pass today to cap her day. Haas is primed to erupt, front through, tuck double back, keeps the front foot planted, and that is exactly what you want to do. Great work in the fifth slot for MJ Frazier. Cal not letting up. Again, it's number 3 in the nation versus number 4 in the nation. It's coming down to the last one. Right now, Utah in the books with a 197.7, so comfortably over their goal, one of their goals, likely getting that NQS number up. Still can improve with the routine of Jaylene Gilstrap here, but mission accomplished there, and we'll have to see where the numbers net out. But the momentum of Cal is undeniable. 110 flashed for MJ Frazier and a 995 on the other side. 9975 there as Gilstrap orients herself, gets herself situated a little bit awkwardly right before that wolf turn, but the execution of the actual skill, beautiful there. Hips seem to be a little bit out of alignment, but keeping it moving. Can definitely appreciate what Gilstrap is doing so far up there. Cat leap again. Casual cat, we'll call it. Into the front aerial. Long pause before this series. And unfortunately, just takes her shoulders too far back. Can't save it, so Utah will close their day with that 197.7, leaving it up to Ella Cesario. However, with MJ Frazier's 9975 in the books, it's a 198.1 for Cal. They've won the meet. They stay perfect in the conference. And now Ella Cesario can put some sprinkles on top of a beautiful Saturday in Haas. Jaylene Gilstrap finishes up here. Unfortunate chest position there, just brings one of her feet forward ever so slightly. The personnel is there, the execution is there for Utah, but opening the door just a little bit in those moments where they wanted to build that momentum and really close out those rotations with huge scores. Something left to be desired today. However, they'll take the road score and a high 197.7. Here we go with Ella Cesario. Big moment for the junior. She's going to debut a tucked full in. Big work. Scoots it back and steps out just a little bit, but the power is undeniable. Getting her legs underneath her, literally and figuratively, with that skill. Cal feeling like they're 49.575 worth a performance rep for Cesario. Great to see another difficult E-pass, the double flip come in. Switch leap to switch ring half. Talked about it all day, but these combination passes, Cesario at her best really pushes the limit on floating the layout at the end of this pass. It's a great one if you couldn't tell from her face. Projecting out to the crowd. Awesome to see. Definitely what she wanted to do in terms of executing, getting those confident reps under her belt. Loading that 1.5 right up. Thrilled with it for Ella Cesario. Congratulations from the rest of the squad.
Everybody clap your hands. Come on, y'all. Check it out.
Can tell you that Jaylene Gilstrap 9.075 to close, but Utah
All the way to the floor.
a 49.425 total.
Can you bring it to the top? Like
I mean, they're number 2 in the nation on beam, and that number within the realm of what they've been consistently doing. And maybe it wasn't an out of bounds for Cesario, as I see a 9.85 come up.
Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One up this time.
Must have been a 9.85, 9.75 split, so a 9.8 is where she'll net out.
Slide to the
That
left.
closes Cal's day. Again, their total will not change from that 198.1 and a 49.575 on floor. We are going to stick with it. We have one exhibition performance, and it is a Butte with Andy Lee coming in. Again, these exhibition routines, so viable, not only for Cal, should they need to bring them in, but any other team would love to have this exercise in the lineup. What a way to end the day. Again, mission accomplished for Cal. Keeps that front foot planted, just a tiny pace back into a secure lunge. It's the projection, it's the modern movement that Andy Lee has become known for in the NCAA. And a memo, why don't ya? Again, also outstanding to hear all the Cal athletes in the video packages before and after rotations talking about what belonging means to them, making their team and their sport a more inclusive place. And Andy Lee, a beautiful front lay. This is where she shines, knowing she's done all the hard work and can just show it off here at the end. Awesome ending, even in the exhibition slot for Andy Lee. What a way to close the day. Numbers again, 198-1 for number 3 Cal Bears, defeating the number 4 Utah Utes with a 197-7. It has been a day in Haas, and hopefully you had a day yourselves. This was an exemplary performance from both teams. Room to improve still, and we will keep tabs on the rest of the season. It's going to be an interesting Pac-12. Don't forget that your Cal Bears are hosting a regional championship later in April. I have been Evan Hyder. Thanks so much for following along all the action here. Signing off from Haas Pavilion. We'll see you next time.